All right, good morning, dear friends. Bruchim Abayim, Shavua Tov. Today's breakfast and class at the Daniel S. Loeb Torah Center is dedicated for a speedy, complete refuah shlema for their mother, Joyce Harari, Simcha Joyce, Bat Selma Chava, and for everyone to find their right zivug marriage partner, God willing, Be'ezrat Hashem. Okay, so a lot to discuss today, and a great story that I heard from the person it happened to. I don't remember if I've told the story here before. I really don't, but it's a great story. If you heard it before, worth hearing again. I'm going to connect it, however, to the idea of the man. The man is discussed in the parsha. The man, of course, was a miraculous food that fell for the Jewish people for the 40-year duration that they were in the desert. Now, it's a pretty strange time to mention the man. The man itself only existed for the Jewish people. This miraculous food, it was actually God's Shekhinah, God's presence put into food form that the Jewish people used to eat for the 40 years in the desert. They ran out of matzah pretty quickly, right after Pesach. You know what it's like. Matzah's sold for half price, and then you run out. Supermarkets didn't have any matzah in it, and so they had to resort to this miraculous food called the manna that came down. There's a lot to say about the man, but one of the key features that people are not aware of about the man itself is that it only lasted one day. You received an amount of food, an omer that came down, that's the amount of food that one person eats a day, and was placed outside a person's tent. There are different miracles the Gemara speaks about. A righteous person had it right outside their door. Less righteous people further away. So many attached miracles of the man and how it was absorbed into the limbs and the sinews of a person and would not need to be expelled like other food. Many miraculous and amazing properties. But one of the key properties that it has, and I think this is why Moshe Rabbeinu is discussing the man at this particular point, right before they enter into Israel, when there would be no more man, the manna, only fell in the desert. They're about to enter into Israel a couple of weeks after this whole speech. So why is he talking about it? It's because of a very certain feature that the man had. And that is, you only had enough for one day. One day. You were not allowed to leave any over to the next day. If you did leave any over to the next day, it rotted, or it turned into liquid, and it turned into rivulets, and it kind of like spread out. Actually, that's how even the non-Jewish people were able to take a taste of the man. Says the Midrash, it would melt, it would liquefy, the animals would eat it, the non-Jewish nations would catch those animals, eat those animals that had eaten the man, and even they would get a taste of this miraculous, amazing food. Why exactly did we need to have a daily dose of man? Why couldn't it be a weekly dose, a monthly dose? What is the idea? What is the secret behind the daily falling and rotting of the man? So from here we learn something about relying on God for our parnasah, for our financial success, my dear friends. You see, when the man came down, you had enough for one day. And when you went to bed, there was no more man. Done. Finished. Which means for 40 years, every single Jew went to bed with their fridge empty and had to wake up the next morning praying to God that there would be food waiting for them the next day. This, said the rabbis, taught and still teaches the crucial lesson of having faith in Hashem, bitachon, for our parnasah, for our financial success, for ourselves, our companies, our charities, our synagogues. When we look at our synagogue bills, right, Haran, we're like, how are we going to survive? How are we going to get through the rest of 2025, 2026, when the bills are only going up, security prices are going up, and all the other challenges? The man teaches us a key, powerful lesson. Every single day for 40 years, our ancestors woke up not knowing where that food would come from. If they had enough for a week, their emunah, their faith, would have been lessened. Had it been enough for a month, even less. Had God just filled up their bellies every day, which He could have done, where would the lesson have been that God is the provider? So Moshe Rabbeinu is repeating before the entry into Israel that just like you had man every single day, and that man is going to be stopped right now as you enter into Israel, do not worry. The principle of the man still exists, which is there's always going to be food on your tables. Have faith in God, do your hishtadlut, which is why they still have to go out to pick up the man, a minimum amount of hishtadlut. Sadiqim do a little less. Those who have less faith do more. They have to travel even further to get their daily portion of bread or their work. In the end, all financial success comes from God and from God alone. That, my friends, is the lesson the man brought with it and what the Jewish people had to take into Israel, because they were about to enter into a whole new reality of planting seeds and watering and reaping and harvesting and making bread. It was a very different reality which Moshe Rabbeinu and God obviously had prepared them before they went in. This is a way of looking at life. You know, I remember a story I heard from a very great rabbi, Rabbi Yitzchak David Grossman. He's known as the disco rabbi. Look up the disco rabbi and he'll come up. The disco rabbi. Why is he called the disco rabbi? He came from a very religious family, and as he says it, and you can see his many interviews that he speaks about, he became obsessed with thanking God by bringing Jews closer to him. And so he used to go to discos and pick up Jewish people in Israel who were, dancing, and start dancing with them and made a connection with them. And he said he wanted to find a place where, there wasn't much religious Jewish life. So he picked on Migdal Emek, I think, right? He went to Migdal Emek, right? He went there, and he said, I don't know what was there. I just chose it because, I don't know, it seemed like it was a good place to be. It's literally like nothing. It's a ghost town. I've been there, by the way. And I've been to the yeshiva he set up and the orphanage he set up in Migdal Oz. Right? And that's the name of the place he built up. Unbelievable. I wanted to share with you one story he shared when I took a group there, which happened to him. So I heard it from him, and it happened to him. And it's really a beautiful, remarkable story. And just when I was thinking about the man this morning, this story popped into my head, so I wanted to share it with you. So the story goes like this. He said that he went on a fundraising mission. He has a massive budget over years of doing outreach. He built up an orphanage, yeshiva, he built up the entire town. He's the chief rabbi of the entire town at this point, starting from visiting these discos. Anyway, he said he went on a fundraising mission to Israel, to the United States from Israel, and he was there, and it was not so successful. It wasn't so great, and we found it very, very challenging. He said that on the way from Israel to the United States, the following event happened to him on one particular trip. He went on the plane, and they asked him to go to first class. Why would they ask him to go to first class? Because they recognized him because he had won the Israel Prize, and they felt a rabbi of his stature should not be sitting back. This does not happen to me, but it happened to Rabbi Grossman, obviously. Very well known. Okay, this is the story, yeah. So he gets on the plane, and they say, please go to first class. And he's like, no, it's going to look embarrassing. They're going to think I'm spending my own money. They wouldn't hear it. The El Al staff said, you're famous. He had just won the Israel Prize, which is like the Oscars of Israeli society. So they pushed him into first class. So he's sitting in first class, and any good rabbi in first class wants to look around to see if there's any fundraising opportunities. You know what I'm saying? People afford first class, assuming it's not full of other rabbis who've been, shunted up to first class. He wanted to have a go. So he's in first class, and he sees there's a couple, an American couple, who are sitting near him. So he's like, flying from Israel to the United States. He thinks, I'll give it a go. So he walks over to them and he says, you don't know me, my name is Rabbi Grossman, and I run a yeshiva and orphanage. And if you don't mind, I have a video. He used to carry like a little mini video player, DVD player, about his yeshiva. You know what I'm saying? Because there's one thing about listening when it comes to, showing, but filming stuff and showing the videos was much more effective. So he says that he went over to this couple and he gave them this DVD player, and he mentions while he's saying this that the husband was a large guy, like a really big fellow. Okay, so he gives them, and he gives them their headphones. They can listen to it, right? And he's in first class, and he puts it down in front of them. They have the big tray in front of them, And the guy sits there, goes, fine, we haven't heard of you, but we're willing to do it. Whatever, it's a 12-hour flight, so whatever. They put the headphones in, and he went back to his seat. And he's sitting there and waiting for them to finish watching the movie, hoping to see tears coming out of their eyes from his fundraising video. When they start crying, much more chance that he's going to get some money out of them for his, his multi-million-dollar budget, whatever it is. So he's sitting there and he waits for the finish. He sees that they finish and they close it, take out the earpods, and he walks over to them to have a conversation, to ask them, how did you find it? I heard the story from him directly, by the way. So this is not second, third hand. So he says, as he walks over, he presses some kind of button or something happens, and the seat that this big guy is sitting on flips back. And the drink or something spilled all over the guy. He made a complete mess. The DVD goes flying. It's a complete, the woman shouts, it's a complete shambles. He said it was literally the most awkward, embarrassing moment of his life. Whatever it was food or drink just spilled on the guy as he fell back, and it was just, and he's like, oh my God, forget about it. I'm not getting a penny out of this guy. He goes, I don't know why, but I felt so bad, and I felt so embarrassed, and I felt so remorseful that I grabbed this guy's fat head, and I gave him a big kiss on the forehead, and I said, I'm so, so sorry. Took his DVD, and went back to his seat. And that was that. About 30 minutes or an hour later, whatever it was, he sees the guy walk over to him. He's cleaned himself up, he's wiped away the drink, and he says, can I talk to you? He says, of course, I'm so sorry. He goes, you don't have to apologize. Because let me tell you something. I was a successful businessman for many, many years. And my wife and I wanted children. We could never have children. And we tried, and we went to doctors, and we went IVF, and we tried everything we could. We never have kids. But I want to do something with my wealth, with my success. So he said, we decided to visit Israel, because we have a great love for Israel. And we went from place to place, and nothing spoke to us. Nothing spoke to us. We didn't want to give any money away, And I'm not a religious person, but I decided to go to the Western Wall. And whilst at the Western Wall, I prayed to God. And I said, I really want to find something that speaks to my wife and I, something that's going to, give us something, a reason to want to give. He goes, look, just find me something, God. Just give me a kiss from heaven. Just give me a kiss. If someone comes up to me and shows me something and just gives me a kiss from you, Hashem, God, I know it's the right thing to do. On the airplane, you came over to me, you showed me a video about your orphanage, and you gave me a kiss. I knew this was it. Here, took out his checkbook on the spot, says Rabbi Grossman, and wrote him, this is back in the, 80s, a $1 million check on the spot. On the spot! He wrote a woman a check and handed it over to Rabbi Grossman. Rabbi Grossman then said that I stayed in touch with this guy, and I got a lot more out of him for the orphanage, Baruch Hashem, over the years. All right? One prayer to God, one kiss, Baruch Hashem did it all. That is the story. Friends, a lot to say from that story. If you're a fundraiser, never give up. If you're looking where to give, you can ask Hashem. You can ask God to guide you into the right place at the right time. No doubt about it. If you have nowhere to give, you can always talk to me. I won't kiss you, but I'll tell you some good places that you can you give your success, financial success to. But it all comes to the man. The man taught us that Hashem gives success, and Hashem decides who gets what, when, and where. And if it needs to come via a miraculous fashion, it will come that way as well. Have a great, successful day.